What's going on, guys? It's 123 Stealth Bomber here, bringing you another tutorial on the Assault Squad editor today, and we're going to be talking about how to make menus for your reinforcements. In other words, if you play the skirmish for Assault Squad, you'll notice how there's like a navigating menu, how you can navigate the menus and all that stuff. So people have been asking me this for a long time, been getting requests for this like constantly, because it's not easy to figure out. It's something you just couldn't figure out pretty easily. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. It's going to be quite a lengthy video, so prepare to like rewind it or pause it or a couple times. Ask questions if you have anything that I don't clarify in this video. Well, just put down in the comments below, or anything like that. So let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna spawn some units, and what I'm gonna do is, for the purpose of this video, to make it a little bit shorter, I'm only gonna do two different menus. I'm gonna do an infantry menu and a tank menu. The infantry menu is going to only hold one type of infantry, which will be this infantry squad right here, and the tank menu is going to only hold one tank, and that'll be, let's see, a Sherman. So, yeah, we'll do that. And then what we're going to do from here is, I'm just going to put these guys inside.
Got it, sir!
And I'm just going to wait for them to get in. Now, to clear things up, you can do as many as you want. For reinforcements, once you set up your menus, you can actually do as many as you want. There is actually no limit, but just for, like I said, for this sake of the video, I'm only doing two, just to make the video a little bit shorter. But just so you know, you don't have to make just infantry and armor. They could be artillery or custom aircraft or anything you want. And like I said, even in each menu, you can have like 5 or 6 reinforcements. Like maybe if you want different types of tanks, you can have like a Sherman or a Stuart in the same category, just like how they do it in the skirmish. So now, since the guys got inside the tank, we're gonna give these guys some tags. So we're gonna first select the infantry squad, and we're gonna give these guys some tags. So all we need is 2 tags. One is just one tag you give it, and the second one will be a hidden tag. We want these units to be hidden from our view when we start the game. And I'll do the same thing for the tank. So Sherman and hidden. Alright. Hold on for a second. I'm going to turn these around. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, we're going to head over to waypoints, and we're going to add at the very, very top, and just give it a name. Reinforcements. And I'm just going to give two waypoints, one for each infantry. And we've done reinforcements in my videos before, plenty of times, but I'm just going to go over them again just to clarify, just for the video. So all we're going to do is just we're going to give 2 waypoints. They're not going to be connected, because these waypoints are going to be the starting waypoints for these units. The Sherman's going to have the starting position of 1. The infantry squad will be the starting position of 0. And actually what we'll do right here is we're going to push these guys back a little bit. So, okay, I'll put them right there. Alright, so now what you're going to do is, when you're done with this, we're going to go to our mission properties, so press F9. And the first thing we're going to go to do is do our events. So we're going to start with events instead of reinforcements first. So we're going to start off making all our events. And what you're going to first do is right click in the open box, and you're going to hit add. And we're going to give all the names to our menus. So we're in our helper events, we're setting up the menu in helper events, like sort of, in other words, like trigger activating. So I'm going to do it from start to finish. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a flag. If you see it in the campaign, like in the skirmish mode, you'll notice there's the nation's flag, so we're going to set that up. So, menu flag. All you have to do is just give it a name, and then that's it. There's no extra information you have to fill out. We're going to do this for the rest of them as well. We need a menu for the infantry, so let's do that. Hit add again, and we're going to make a menu for the tank. So I'm going to call this one armor. We also need a back button, so let's make menu underscore back. This will allow us to we didn't really actually necessarily create it, we're just setting it up right now. The menu back is going to allow us to have like a back feature so we can navigate through each menu, so you're not stuck on one menu forever. We need a back feature that allows you to go from back and forth. Next, we need the units themselves. So the first one will be our infantry squad. So infantry squad, and finally we need one more, which was the tank. So Sherman tank. Okay. So now we set these up. We are all set with the events. We can hit OK and get out of that. And we're going to go to our reinforcements, expand this box. And like I said before, we've done reinforcements before in my previous videos, but I'm going to go over them again just to clear things up again. The score total is how much you can have, how many points you can have in total. So we'll say, for the sake of this video, 5,000. And the score current is how much you start off when the game starts. So we'll also put that 5,000. Now we're going to right click and add an insert, and we'll start off with the flag. Now before I go any further, unlike the events, the helper events that we were setting up, these actually have to be in a specific order. So what order do they actually have to be in? Well, actually it goes by the flag first, then it's the units themselves, the menus, and then the back button. The back button always goes last. Now the reason why this is because if you put them in different orders, for some reason it doesn't work correctly. For example, if you have it, actually when you set up your menu, it depends on how you set them up in this menu right now. So for the mission reinforcements panel, so if I put the flag at the very bottom, then the flag will always appear at the bottom. If I put the back button at the very top, then the back button's always going to be at the top on the reinforcements in the menu when I start the game. And that also goes for the different categories. So if I wanted to put the armor category before the infantry category, I would just have to put the armor menu before the infantry menu. It works. It kind of it sets it up in a sequence, if you want to say it that way. So we'll start off with the flag. I'm just going to go from start to finish. I'm not going to make it too complicated, so I'll make it as close as the skirmish, if you will. So we'll start off with the menu flag, and the state, we're going to have this on none, because as soon as you start the game, we want this to appear. So the rest of this is going to be important to us. The text, we're going to expand this. It's going to open to the text browser. We're going to hit add, give it a name, doesn't matter what you call it. Just make sure you know what you can do so you can select it later. So, and we're just going to call this United States. So all this is doing is when you move your cursor over it, it's just going to clarify who this is. The image. This one's going to be a little bit different. It's going to actually, if you want to know for the image for a flag, it goes by USA underscore skirmish. How did I know that? It's actually all in the files. I'll put all the image files in the description below on how to get to it, because certain names, in order to do certain images, require certain text. It's all in the files, so if you type in something wrong or something like that, it won't pop up. So this is the correct wording for it. Now the hint, we're going to expand this. All we're going to do is just select the same one that we made. So when you move your cursor over, it's going to say United States. The count. The count is going to be -1 because we wanted to make it endless. -1 always means infinite, because we don't want the flag to disappear after we go back to the main menu. So we always want it to reappear. So it's always going to be endless. So you want to put that in -1. The score is going to be 0 and the delay is going to be 0 because you're not buying anything. The event start, you're going to expand this and you're going to pick the event that we've created a little while back. So in my case, I named it menu flag, so I'm just going to hit OK. Now the event end and waypoint we don't have to worry about because we're not buying anything. Alright, so that's one. So we need to do it for all of them. So start off with the infantry. So infantry squad, I'm just going to call it that. Now the state's going to be hidden. Now the reason why it's going to be hidden is because it's not going to pair up when the game starts. What is going to pair up is the menu to get to the infantry section, not the squad itself. You want this to be hidden from the view when you start the game. So the text, again, it's going to be very similar, just like the menu flag. Just going to give it a name and just going to type in what you want. So infantry squad. And that's the name that's going to pop up on the unit itself. Now for images, for the infantry images, it's very complicated, but I already came up with one. It's going to be squad 1 and then in brackets USA. Yeah, it's, again, I'll put in the files on how to get there, but don't worry for that. Just put squad 1 USA for now, or whatever nation. If you're using a different nation, then you would change the USA to GER or JAP, whatever, you know, the shortness for their nation. So for the hint, again, same thing. I'm just going to select the infantry squad, and this time the count is going to be, we can make it endless if we want, but let's say we want a limit, so we're just going to make it 10. So you can only buy 10 of these before it disappears. We got to make a score, how much it's going to cost. So let's say 250. And the delay on before you can use it again, so let's say 10 seconds. The event start, we're going to open this and we're going to pick the infantry helper event that we made earlier. Oh, I'm sorry, I picked the wrong one. It is infantry squad, not menu infantry. And the waypoint's going to be where it starts at, so 0 in this case. Okay, now next we're going to do it for the tank. So Sherman. It's going to be exactly the same thing as the infantry. So state is also going to be hidden. The text, expand, open this, make a new one, and we're going to put the correct name for it, which is M4A3 Sherman. Save it. And the name, actually, I'll skip the name for a second. I'm going to go to the hint, expand this, give it the same one as the text. Now for the image, all I have to do for this one is just go to the name that it's given on the information bar on the right. So it's M4A3 underscore 75. So that's what I type in. Underscore 75. Okay. The count is how many you're going to buy. So let's say 5 of them are max. And actually, you know what? Let's do 10. And the score will be 750. Whoops. 750. The delay will be, say, 10 seconds again. And the event start will also be the tank, Sherman tank, as we named it for the helper event. The waypoint will be 1, and we're all set for that. We're going to add in, we're almost done here, we just need 3 more. Our next ones are going to be the menus themselves. So menu infantry, we're doing the infantry menu first. So for this one, the state is going to be also on nothing, because it's just going to be like the menu flag. We want it to appear when the game starts. The text, we're going to expand this, give it a name, infantry, and doesn't matter what you call it, I'm just going to call it the infantry, so you know that this category will be called the infantry section. I don't know. Now for the image, now the image is quite, it's actually, I took this one right off from the developers themselves. This is how I actually figured this one out, and it's called Menu 1, and then in the brackets, Skirmish. So just so you know, one thing, make sure you spell it right, because Skirmish is easily misspelled, because I've done that from experience, first of all. And secondly, if you do spell it wrong, it doesn't work. You have to spell it exactly how it appears in the files. So Menu 1 Skirmish is actually going to be the picture of of an infantry, like a squad of infantry, as you see in the campaign. Well, in the skirmish mode. Hint. Again, it's going to be what we always did. So the menu infantry. And the count. It's going to be just like the flag. We want it to appear infinitely, so it'll be a -1. We don't need a score nor delay. We do need an event start, and that's going to be our menu infantry that we've created earlier. No waypoint for this one. Next, we're going to be creating our armor section. So for a menu for our armor, again, no state is required. For the text, we are going to open this, and we're going to call this one menu/armor. Whoops. And I'm just going to call this one armor. Whoops, I keep spelling things wrong. Armor. There we go. Now, the image is going to be, you might think it's going to be menu 2 skirmish, but it's actually, in fact, menu 4 skirmish. It doesn't matter, honestly, what you name it, but if you want to get the picture of a tank, then menu 4 is the one. Because if you notice, when you're playing the skirmish mode, the fourth menu that you can go down is a picture of a tank. I think it's the Tiger tank, I believe. But if, so, like for example, menu 2, I believe it's a different. It's like the artillery section. Number 3 is in the armor section, and number 4 is the tanks, is the armor section. So if you want to make it a little bit more representative, you can do it this way. But honestly, it does not matter what you use for an image. For the hint, as usual, we're going to be picking the menu armor, as just I've been doing for the other ones. Count is going to be -1. We want to make this infinite, and the event start will be menu armor. Okay. Okay, finally, we need to create one more, which is our menu back. And this one's going to allow us to create our back button. So for this one, the state is going to be on hidden. Now, the reason why it's going to be on hidden is because when you're on the main menu, there is no way to go back. You don't need to go back. So we're going to script it later so it appears when you go into a menu. So for the text, you hit add, give it a name. As you know, it's pretty much the same as all the other ones. I'm just going to call it back in this case. Now the image, you might think it might be called back, but in fact it's actually called skip. I don't know why they named it that, but that's how it is. And it has like a little cancel symbol. And then menu back again for the hint. Again, you want the count as -1, so it never goes away. And for the event start, you're going to pick menu back. And we're all done for the mission reinforcements. So if you thought that was a pain, well, that was nothing. We still need to script it now. Well, let me get rid of these two. Okay. Now we need to script. This is where it gets confusing. So we'll start off naming it. So I'm going to create like a subcategory for the trigger. So reinforcements, menu, actually, you know, I'll call it main menu. Okay, so I'm going to start off and make it as easy as possible because it gets very confusing very quickly. So we're going to start off with the main menu. We're going to start creating the main menu for it. So the first thing that pops up on your screen. So we need a couple things here. We need a condition, and our condition is going to be an event. You're going to open up the event, and it's going to open up the ID, and you're going to pick menu back. Okay? And then here, whoops, did I not do it? Whoops, I hit cancel, my bad. Alright. And again, the commands for this one, you're going to hit add, and it's going to be another event. Expand this one, and it's also going to be menu back. Now, the mode is going to be a reset. Now, the reason why we're putting the properties for a reset instead of set is because we want this to recycle itself and make it so it can repeat this event again. If you just hit set, it's going to do this only once, and then it'll never do it again. So if you're wondering why it's not there, well, that's probably because the mode is probably not on reset. It's going to reset the event every single time. Pretty much, it's once it reads this command, it's going to read the condition again so you can do it again. Because once, as always, as I talked before, conditions come first, then commands come second. It's going to reset it, so pretty much it's just going back and forth. That's all it's doing. Now here comes the tough part. We're going to hit add under our event for our commands, and our first one is going to be reinforcement. So we're going to start off with the operation. The operation is going to be show. Now when you're working with the reinforcement, you always want to do the show rather than the hide first. Alright, so always do showing and then hide. Okay, and I'll get to that in detail in a little bit later. And then for the name, we're going to be choosing all of the events that we created. So for example, we want to show, we're on the main menu here, so you got to think about it a little bit logically, but it goes straight forward. So for example, we're on the main menu. What do you see? What do you want to show? We want to show the flag. Simple enough, right? So that's one. In order to, now we have to do a bunch of them because we got to do all the rest of them, right? So an easy way to do it is just what's the shortcut? It's Alt-C. If you just hit Alt-C at the same time, it just copies. And I'm just going to create a couple of them because we're going to need a couple of them here. Now we could keep the operation on show because we also need to show the infantry menu as well. And then you can hit OK for that. We also need to show the armor. And then that's it. So there's only, when you first start the game, the only thing that's going to be on screen is the flag, the infantry category, and the armor category. Now I added in an extra one. I didn't think I kind of miscalculated how many we were going to use. So now for our next one, it's going to be, instead of a show, it's going to be a hide. It's going to hide everything from view. So it makes sense. Show means show. It like actually represents it and you can see it. Hide means it completely hides it from view and you can't see it. It's kind of like a hidden tag if you want to put it that way. So the name is going to be the infantry squad because we're hiding the infantry. We're also on the next one you're going to do is you're going to hide the tank because we don't want to see the tank at all either. And we're also going to hide the back button because we don't want to see the back button either because we're on the main menu. So yeah, that's how you start off with the main menu. So I want to show you this really quick and we'll start it off. So as you can see, look, there's our money, there's the flag, and there's the infantry and armor section, perfectly aligned with each other. You can press the button to get rid of it if you need to. That's it. Now obviously I can click on these but nothing happens. That's because we haven't scripted it yet to allow you to click on the other ones. But this is how you set up the menu, and it's honestly it's not that hard. People just make it a little bit harder than it seems. So I'm gonna end it and let's continue scripting the rest of this. We're gonna make it so you can click on the infantry, the tank, and so you can spawn the units as well. So we'll go back to our main menu and we're going to create a new one. So hit add and we're going to make another one. So this one I'm going to call it menu infantry show. I want to make it as easy to you guys as possible. So we're going to show the infantry menu. So for this one, all you're going to do is we're going to need another condition. So go to event. Go to for your condition, it's going to be an event, and you're going to open the ID, and this one's going to be menu infantry. For the commands, it's also going to be an event. It's going to be pretty much the same thing as the main menu. So again, another event, expand this, and it's going to be menu infantry. It's going to be a mode of reset, and you don't need any delay. Now next, what we're going to do is, as same thing as the main menu, we're just going to do another reinforcement. This one we're going to do an operation of show, and we're going to do the infantry themselves. We're going to show the infantry. That's all we need. And then next we're going to do another show, and and this one's going to be menu back. Now, because obviously once you get into this category, into this menu, you need to be able to go back to the main menu. So now it's going to show the back button. So that's the only two things that's going to pop up. The rest are going to be all hidden. So the next one after this is going to be a hide operation, and it's going to hide the flag because it's now that'll be hidden from our view. Now that is optional. You can show the flag at all times if you really want to, but for this case, I'm just going to hide it. We're also going to hide the infantry menu because we're inside of it. So why show it again? And we're going to also hide the armor section. Now we don't need to hide the tank either because you're not in the armor section, the armor menu at all. So now let's see how it works. We can test this out. Okay, so I'm going to click on the infantry, and you'll notice the infantry squad pops up. And see, I can click on it, but nothing happens. Nothing's going to spawn because we haven't scripted that yet. But yeah, you can click on it, and you can actually spawn try and spawn it. And here's the back button as well. See, if you press the back button, it goes back to the main menu. If you go to the armor, again, nothing happens because we haven't scripted that yet. The infantry, we'll click on it again. And, it didn't work. Well, I think I might know the reason why. And this is a common problem that I had as well. So let's go back to the to our triggers really quick, and we're actually going to add in one extra command. And I forgot to add this in earlier. I made a mistake, guys. So this is my fault. So go back to both of these commands, and all we're going to do simply is add in a trigger. This will be under your commands and just adding trigger. And it's going to be the one you just did it for. So main menu, click that, main menu, and then you'll be all set. Now, the reason we need this, honestly, I don't really know. It just works if you do that. Because obviously, as you just saw, it worked for the first time. But if we try to go back, it didn't. So you need, for some reason, the trigger, its trigger command, it actually makes it work. So we're going to see that in just a second. So now let's try it again and see if this works. See, now I can actually traverse between each one. See how the trigger command I just added in, it actually just works just works fine now. I can go back and forth as much as I want. So that was my fault. I should have made that into account. Yes, you do need that trigger command. It's very, very important. Okay. Let's work on the next menu, which is our armor. So next, it'll be armor/show. And honestly, it's going to be the exact same stuff as this one. So we're just going to copy off of it. So event, the ID, instead of infantry, it'll be armor. And, yep, hit OK. The commands, it's going to be another event. And put that on reset, and the event will be menu armor. So it's going to reset the event, allowing you to click on it multiple times. And for our reinforcements, we're going to start off with the show. We want to show the Sherman tank because now we're talking about we're inside the armor menu. So we're showing the Sherman tank, and we're going to copy this, and we're going to show the back button, just like the infantry section. Now for the rest of them, we're going to hide, and we're going to hide the flag. We're also going to We're also going to hide the infantry menu, and we're also going to hide the armor menu. Now this time I'm not going to forget it. We'll add in our last one, which is a trigger. Give it the name of the one you just created, so menu armor show in my case. And that should be it for that one. So let's try this one out now. So the armor, and there you go, there's the tank. If we press the back button, we can go back to the main menu. Let's do it again just to make sure it works, and as you can see, it works perfectly fine. Okay, so now we have the main basis of a menu. Now the menus work. Let's actually spawn these units so we can actually spawn them, so it makes it a real workable menu. Now we're going to need 2 more triggers. So let's add another one. This one we're gonna call them Menu Infantry Squad. Okay, so I'm gonna make this one a sub menu. So like in the actual name itself. So apart aside from the other ones to make it a little bit easier to represent. And for this one, all we're gonna need here is just some commands to make it spawn. So for example, well, we do need an event, so let's do that. So an event, it'll be the infantry itself. You're gonna put on mode of reset because for this one we want to make sure we can buy it multiple times, so make sure you do that. And also for the condition, we're also going to need an event. And this one's also going to be the infantry squad, because remember, it's going to cycle between each one back and forth, so it can reset the condition. Once the condition is read, it's going to read the event command and then reset it. Now once that's done, we're going to go to our, just make it move pretty much. So we'll do an actor to waypoint, and we'll do a selector, you know, go to the tag, give it the tag you gave the infantry. Well, in my case, I just called it infantry. And the waypoint it starts at, 0. And we want to, yes, we wanted to make it clone. And the approach, we could either do it teleport and rotate or nothing. It doesn't really matter, honestly. I'm just going to keep it on nothing. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do an actor state. This one's not really, it's not really, it's optional if you want to put it that way. So for the selector, I just gave it the tag of the infantry. Put it on user command, open, move mode free. Well, no, I'm sorry, move mode hold. Weapon prepare on, and AI move to enable, and the speed will be normal. Finally, we need a delay. So we're gonna put this delay. So how long it takes? So we'll just put 10 seconds. How long it takes to spawn. So actually, you know what, let's do like 2 seconds actually, make it a little bit faster. Finally, we need a trigger as our last command, and we're gonna open this one, and it'll be the name of what we just created this trigger. Okay, so now this should work. So let's see what happens. So now we're gonna go to our infantry section. We're gonna call this one in, and there you go. I made it so it spawns pretty much instantly, but for the most part, there you go, it works pretty fine. And let's spawn in another one.
Yes, sir.
Let's go attack these guys over here. I'm just gonna keep spawning them in. I can spawn up to 10 of them, so
got it, sir. Burn! Safe enemy is ahead, sir. Yes, sir. Go!
And one more. For the most part, they follow correctly by the waypoints. They follow by your movement pretty well. So I'll just send in these last guys. So for the most part, now you know that this works correctly. Okay, let's end this, and let's just script the last thing we need before this tutorial is done, which is the tank. And I'll create one more. I'm going to do it under that same thing, so call this one Sherman. And I'm just going to do the exact same thing as I did for the infantry squad. So I'm going to do another event in the condition. So the ID is going to be the tank, the Sherman tank. Command is going to be another event. It's going to be the same exact, so the tank again. And the event's going to be on reset. And we're just going to do what we did for the infantry squad. I'm just going to look at it. The actor to whoops. We need an actor to waypoint. This one's going to be waypoint 1. And yes, clone, no approach though. And actor state. I'm just doing this really quickly, but by the by this point, you guys know what I'm doing for this point. I'm just working on the actor states. Again, not really, you don't have to. It's just an optional thing. Add a delay of 2 seconds. And finally, we'll add in our trigger so it works properly. And it'll be the Sherman, like I just called it. And there we go. We should be all set. So let's try it again. I'm going to spawn an infantry squad. And let's go back and let's go to our armor section. Go to our tank, and there it is. Now, I don't know why it's actually not popping up. I think I put it on AI control by accident. Yeah, I think that's what I did. I probably did that by accident. But yeah, you get the point. The tank does spawn correctly. It's just I didn't make it in the correct player. I made it under AI, I believe.
Get ready for the fight! Right. Skittle! Fire! Let's give him fire! Get back! Let's give him fire!
And yeah, that's really about it. So the menus work pretty fine. The infantry, well, you know, all the reinforcements work, you know, perfectly fine. Everything works great. So guys, this is really about it. This really kind of concludes this tutorial. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. I know this tutorial was kind of long, but this was a complicated tutorial. This one was up there in, you know, it's advanced. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, favored it, all that stuff, you know what to do. If you have any questions or comments or any concerns, you can leave them down below on this video. Comment on my channel, leave me an email, or even my Facebook like page, and as well as my Steam group. All that will be in the description below. So, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time. See you later.